Hello and welcome to yet another challenge Warlord Gold Strategy Guide. My name is Renstaud and we will be covering the Shadowmoon Burial Grounds. This place, in my opinion, is a pain in the ass. The reason I say this is because everything in here hits like a truck in comparison to any of the other challenge modes. So pretty much once you pull that caster that we just nuked, you want to kill him quickly. Simple as that. Melee, be mindful of your placement. All the adds in here cleave. They do a lot of damage. They can easily kill you. So we're getting up here. This Void Lord, the Void spawn, we're going to skip him. You might have to go to the right. And if RN Jesus is nice to you, you won't have to deal with one that spawns over here on one of these two as well. So pull these together, get them nuked. Since there is no void here, we had our hunter misdirect spiders to us. So tank, be ready to pull them. Get aggro on them. Well, there they are. So there's a little spider, so we ain't got to deal with them. Because once this pack, as one of those tiny little spiderlings are dead, we'll be dismissing pets, anything else as well, so we can jump down the little hole over to the left. Be sure you interrupt any cast you can. This applies to everyone. Tanks, melee, even if a healer, if you can get an interrupt off, it's going to be amazing for this place because everything hits so hard. It's just so much magic damage. So we'll just jump down there. We'll pull this group. We'll pull these to the next pack up here on the right as we're heading towards the boss. So just get your aggro secured. And we want to knock out the Shadowmoon, Boner, however the hell you want to call him. But we want to kill the caster douche regardless. Interrupt all of his shadow bolts. He does cast a heal, so be sure you interrupt that or save a stun for when that's coming out. The Shadowman right there that he was getting off, get ready for that. Now, something to note, these reanimated ritualists, if all of their melee swings right there, as you're witnessing, are lined up exactly, they pretty much will hit you for about 30 to 40% of your health each swing. Healer, be ready for that. Tank, use some of your smaller cooldowns, but try to save your big one. Try to keep your big cooldowns banked if possible. And kite these fuckers. They can be stunned, so kite them if you need to. Right there, we just opted to stay there and just try to nuke them down and suffer through the damage. Now, for this first boss, there's going to be a ton of group damage. So you could go in with a little bit of with a little less mana than you're used to, like we did with our healer. Again, Druid Overlords. They are amazing, especially in this place because there's so much damage going around. They can heal on the move to get out of the shit. It's incredible. You have to pretty much, in my opinion, I feel you pretty much have to have a Renstaud Druid in here. So on with the fight. When Dark Communion comes out, be sure to ignore the ad for a second. Okay, when the ad gets close, stun it, just like we did there. Hard switch, everyone needs a hard switch. Blow it up quick. Because pretty much what has to happen is, as you're witnessing here, we're getting the boss very low on the pull. You want to use Lust, go to town on this bastard. Get him low. The ideal is to kill him by the time he casts his second ability to summon another ritualist or whatever, to sacrifice to heal himself. We don't want that to happen. We want to kill this asshole ASAP. And we are on track with doing that. Now there's going to be these little swords everywhere. The closer you are to them, they do a little bit more damage. So here comes Dark Communion again. We're just going to ignore the ad. We'll keep a snare up on it. And we'll stun it if it gets too close. This is, you pretty much need to have this done. Again, the timer is a little restrained considering how much ground you have to cover in this place. So here comes probably one of the first deadly pulls right here, because these Shadowmoon emissaries, whatever the hell they're called, can't really see the full nameplate, but these asshats, they like to channel everything onto one random person. As you're witnessing right here, they put everything on me. I had a cooldown rolling, and they tore through it like tissue. So be prepared for that. With a 40% damage reduction from Rune Tap, they hit like a truck. So be sure you get interrupts and any kind of stuns off. anything you can to help your healer out, especially your tank. DPS, melee DPS, just kill them ASAP. They need to go down quick. It's just so much damage going out on your tank and potentially anyone else in the group if they get chosen by this attack. Now, what's going to have to do here is you can actually prevent those two from spawning, but we just said fuck it, we're going to let them spawn anyway. We'll cleave them down. We want to kill this asshole here ASAP. Just blow him up, pull the next pack, and he'll cast this shit again. These ads that summon, they actually do a small cleave. It's not as bad as the ads from the first pool before the first boss, of course, but they still cleave, so just be mindful of that. There's going to be a lot of damage coming out on your tank right here. They do hit pretty hard, and we had our hunter run ahead and pop 2 of the gravestones in the boss room, so that way we have our hallway cleared for us so we can get straight to the boss. So interrupt when you can, stun when you can. Just don't overlap your stuns. You'll hit the DMR on them and it'll end up being bad. But we managed to dispatch these 2 groups here with relative ease. Healer's a little bit out of mana, which is fine. It's going to happen. But considering that there ain't much group damage on this fight, you could probably go in with a little less mana. Our healer's eating while we're pulling, which is fine. There's not much damage on the pull anyway, so this is perfect. You want to pre-pot here. Now the key with this fight, the majority of your damage on the boss will come from after you get your soul removed from your body and you have to kill your spirit or whatever to come back into this realm. So what's going to happen then is you're going to get a buff that's going to increase all of your damage significantly. So you want to save your big damaging cooldowns. If you've got a potion available at that time, which you may or may not, depending on when he decides to cast his Soul Shred, which right here he does. So we want to kill our removed spirit as quickly as possible and click the portal. You'll get the buff. And then just go to town on the boss. You want to nuke him down, save all of your cooldowns for when you get out of this phase right here. So now we get to melt him and just send him back to the void where he belongs. Now if he casts this vortex thing, it's okay if melee or anyone else, you can get pulled into it. It doesn't do that much damage. If your healer for some reason comes into this with little to no mana, just pop a small cooldown. Now this Void's Devastation deals quite a bit of damage, so just be sure you avoid this at all costs. As you see right there, our hunter was telling us that he was a good 5-10 yards away from him, and I believe him because he's pretty good at positioning and he was still getting clipped by it. So I would say they probably got a few of them can sometimes have a good 5 or 10 yard radius in terms of margin of error. Now right here you want to definitely pull all of these. If you've got an Army of the Dead, use them. You want to blow up this pack quickly, interrupt shit, stun shit whenever you can. It is vital that you interrupt these casters because, again, you've got that crap to deal with. That pat right there, you're going to want to pull him over and blow him up with this grip as well and just get through them as quickly as you can. If you've got DPS cooldowns available, go ahead and use them. Again, trash typically takes, it feels to me at least, on average, longer than bosses do. So I was able to Dark Summon ability off that caster there and help deal a significant amount of damage to him. If DKs, you definitely want to try to use Dark Sim when possible and try to steal any ability, anything to help burst down these ads quicker. So once these are dead, we'll haul ass down the hall. We'll use a Roar, personal speed boost. There's our Roar. Druid Overlord for the win. We'll line up these packs now. We want to focus the spider down first. Just use defenses when the stacks of the necrotic debuff, whatever, from the bats gets too high. Just pop a small CD to survive it. Druid will cleanse it off. Or not Druid, but your monk can cleanse it off. Anyone that you have in your group can just remove it for you. Use stuns on these assholes. Just burn them down quickly. We'll just pull these little spiderlings all the way down to the next pack here. Now, be mindful of your positioning when you're entering this room, because right behind you to the right, there's 2 more spiders in a little cave area there. You might have seen it just then for a quick moment. If you look up there by my scotometer, you might see the legs up there. You don't want to pull them, so be careful of your position when coming into this room. They actually have a relatively large aggro radius, so if you're a little bit too close over there, they may pull, and if that happens, it could possibly cost you a gold time. So whatever you do not pull them assholes. Now, need to mention that be careful of potting or pre-potting on trash anymore, because at this point you will be invis potting. You will be invis potting up here at the bridge. So once we get up here, we'll get all of our resources back, if we need any. We'll pop a roar if needed, but shouldn't need it. 100 speed boost is enough. Invis straight across the bridge. We don't need to kill those 2 worms. Don't need to kill the damn bats. Don't need to kill nothing. Just ignore this shit. This is where you want to invis. As soon as everyone's on the bridge, pull the boss immediately and go to town on this son of a bitch. Now the big thing you got to watch out with on this fight, obviously, is his big knockback. Alright, he will send you flying off the platform, and it deals quite a bit of damage if you do get hit by it as well. Another key factor too is later on in the fight, he will summon 2 more smaller versions of himself in the back, like little assistants or whatever. Ignore them. You don't need to DPS them. Just ignore them and ignore their slams. Ignore their knockbacks. Now when he does inhale, be sure you get as far back as you can. Get behind one of these little void pool things, and it's okay to stand in it. Just pump a small CD to help your healer out. Just don't get sucked in and nommed on and then spit out. Don't let that happen. So here comes Body Slam coming from all directions now. Be sure you avoid them. And just keep damage uptime on the boss. Focus on this asshole only. You don't need to kill the other 2. Remember that. Now, what makes this fight kind of a pain is you can, even as a tank, you can taunt the other 2, but since you're out of aggro range of them, or not aggro range, but out of melee range of them, they will just start attacking anyone else that's closest to them. So healers, be prepared for that. They don't hit as hard as the boss himself, but still, it's a lot of group damage that's going out. And here comes the next inhale. Typically, the ideal is before his submerge, which he should be submerging here. We typically want to kill him before he does his submerge. So there's his submerge. He goes down. It's coming up right over here. We'll finish him off over here. But kill him quickly, and you'll be on your way. If anyone died, which we had a few deaths, so we just went ahead and used the B-res. It's gonna happen. It's just so much shit to avoid. The platform, roughly 90% of the platform gets covered with the body slam. So there's only these few little areas where you can actually stand and avoid shit. But once you got everyone up, take a moment to rebuff, get your mana resources back, and blow up this trash. Again, focus down the bats, not the bats, but the spiders. Kill the big spiders, interrupt their casts, get your AoE stuns rolling. If you've got someone that can cleanse the debuff from the bats off of you, when it gets to a max stack, 4 or 5, just have it removed. Tanks, cycle your small cooldowns, rune tap for DKs, just use a shield barrier for this, obviously. Just rotate your shield block in too. If you've got your shockwave spec, use that. But if you're looking for more AoE bursts, obviously use your Ravager. Ravager actually works pretty damn well on that pack right there. Pretty much on any of these packs and any of these challenge modes. So now when we get up here, we're going to have 2 of these voids to deal with. We want to focus one down ASAP while splitting interrupts. We pretty much had our melee sitting on Skull, while our ranged was helping deal with the interrupts on the unmarked one to the left there. Tank, if you've got multiple interrupts, like a DK, if you've got Strangulate, your Mind Freeze, and if you're a Blood Elf, like right here when I was Vagon, I have had my Arcane Torrent to get both at the same time. You want to try to interrupt as many of these as possible. It is normal for one to get off. Don't forget, hard stuns work on these bastards too. They can be hard stunned. but any kind of ramp up like a Remorseless Winter will not affect these guys. It needs to be a direct stun from a class that has an immediate stun. So now we are at the man himself, Ner'zhul, the Lich King, before he became the Bitch King. This fight isn't too bad, but considering his melee swings hit pretty decent, he hits slow and hard. But his Malevolence, be sure you get out of that. It can damn near one-shot a tank, even if you have a cooldown up. It hits for a shit ton on challenge mode. Now you see the Ritual of Death, whatever, that's there in the middle, that's pulsing AoE. It does more damage the closer you are to it, so be sure you get away from it if possible. Have one of your DPS, or you can mark it yourself like I'm marking right there. Mark one that's closest to the center and have all of your DPS focus on it. Just be mindful of the positioning of the boss. You don't want him to cast this shit through that opening. You'll pretty much knock out your entire group if they're trying to stay within range. So there goes another cast of his Omen of Death. So we gotta haul ass away from it. And he moves slow. So this fight, you'll see more ranged DPS do all the damage for you. Just don't get clipped by his Malevolence. So we've got 2 Omens of Death out now. A little more group damage, so we're going to try to get ourselves as far away from them as possible. Comes the next Ritual of Bones again. You'll want to mark the one closest to the center. However, when you have a situation like this, where there's 2 pulsing in the middle, pick the one towards the outer edge. Just be careful of not getting clipped by the shit that's left behind that Army of the Dead. So just be careful of that. It does a lot of damage. Pretty much one tick will one-shot you. But other than that, the fight's pretty straightforward. It's just like Heroic. It's just the Omen of Death deals significantly more damage and increases in damage the closer you are to it. So that's why you want to get as far away from it as possible. That's why there's going to be a lot of kiting on this fight. So just be ready to haul ass and keep damage uptime on the boss. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.